another GCSE Economics video with me, Mr. Goff, for MrGoff.com. This video will focus on the effects of globalisation on less developed countries. For producers in less developed countries, globalisation means access to more markets and therefore more customers to sell to. It also brings the opportunity for producers to embrace new technologies that can improve productivity and therefore lower their average costs, allowing them to make more money or lower the cost of their goods so that they can sell more of them and make more money that way. Producers in less developed countries might also be able to attract increased foreign investment, allowing them to grow and expand and take advantages of economies of scale. Producers that make goods for the international market are also therefore vulnerable to the global economy. If the global economy goes through a slowdown, then demand for their products will also drop. Producers in less developed countries may have difficulty hiring and keeping hold of skilled labour. This is due to something known as the brain drain. This is the effect where people get educated in less developed countries but then take their skills to work in a more developed country where they can either earn more money or they're able to raise their family in conditions they think are better. Less developed countries tend to have many smaller businesses. These businesses may have a lot of trouble competing with large international firms once globalisation opens up their markets. As globalisation brings greater trade and leads to higher levels of output, this can generally mean that more workers are likely to be needed to produce that additional output. The increased foreign investment that comes with globalisation also leads to more jobs. This could be through foreign investment in domestic firms allowing them to grow and offer more opportunities for work, or it could be from multinational firms setting up business within the country and providing more sources of work. Workers are able to work in more places due to globalisation. However, due to immigration policies in most developed countries, this would only apply to skilled workers from less developed countries who would be able to go and work in more developed countries. They might choose to do this because it pays more, or they might choose to do this because they feel that they can move their family to a place that's better to raise them. Efforts to increase output to match global demand may lead to job loss through increased automation. Workers that are made redundant this way may lack the transferable skills to be able to get other jobs and find themselves long-term unemployed. Workers who produce goods for the international market may find that they suffer from job losses when there's low global demand because of a slowdown in the global economy. Workers in less developed countries may have to put up with far worse working conditions than would be tolerated in a developed nation. In some less developed countries, the majority of the profits and extra money that is made from the additional trade from globalisation is retained primarily by the owners of the businesses. This leads to a greater inequality between rich and poor in the country. For consumers, globalisation can bring benefits such as a greater choice of products and more opportunities for travel. The degree to which this is beneficial to consumers in less developed countries depends on whether you're one of the people that's managed to earn a better living or whether you're very poor, in which case it won't matter that there's more choice or more opportunities for travel because they won't apply to you. Globalisation can also bring improved infrastructure. This can be beneficial to consumers who get the benefits of better roads, rail systems and other transport networks. Globalisation opens markets up to greater amounts of demand. If supply is not able to increase to match that, we might see demand pull inflation. This can be particularly problematic when it happens on essential goods such as basic foodstuffs. The brain drain effect that we spoke of earlier means that there's fewer professionals in less developed countries, meaning a lower quality of services. For instance, the ratio of doctors to patients is far higher in a less developed country than it is in a developed country. Increased production and trade that come with globalisation mean more jobs to produce the additional output. This means people that produce it have increased incomes. This means they have higher demand for other products within the country. This means those firms need to hire more people to produce the additional output to match that demand, and we end up with this cycle of economic growth. Whether this is sustainable depends on whether they maintain their competitive advantage. If the same produce can be done better and cheaper in another country, then firms are likely to move in the future and the economic growth will stop. In addition, if the economic growth is based on non-renewable resources, once those run out, the economic growth will also stop. Increased economic growth should mean increased income for the government through taxes, and they can use that to improve infrastructure and public facilities. However, the extent to which this happens may be impacted by corruption, or if growth is largely down to big multinationals who pay very low taxes, if any, then the benefits might be very limited. When it comes to social sustainability, increased income from more jobs can help to reduce the level of overall poverty. However, as we have already seen, the gap between rich and poor is likely to grow. At the same time, rising prices for products due to increased global demand can have a very big effect on the poor, such as not having the food that they need and suffering from malnutrition. Globalisation means specialisation, which means the efficient use of finite resources, which is good for the environment in a country. But it also means more pollution from transporting goods. And if we look at firms moving their production to less developed countries, many of them do so because they have weaker environmental laws, and the production that they do does significant damage to the environment. That brings us to the end of this video on the effects of globalisation on less developed countries. Join me again soon for more GCSE Economics videos. Try the resources at mrgoff.com to help you revise economics, and until next time, it's bye for now.